Okay, imagine this for a second. An entire world of knowledge, a huge treasure trove of philosophy and art, but it wasn't burned or destroyed, it was just submerged, literally swallowed by the sea and just lost for centuries. Today, we are going to dive deep, and I mean really deep, into a story where ancient archaeology meets cutting-edge artificial intelligence to resurrect a legendary world from the depths.
I mean, just listen to that line. It perfectly captures the poetry and, honestly, the sheer ambition of this whole story. We're not just digging up old pots and artifacts here. We're trying to reignite a lost consciousness, to pull a sunken intellect out of the darkness of the ocean floor and back into the light. So, how on earth do we even begin to do that?
All right, so our journey starts in the Mediterranean with the legend of Apollonia's Lost Library. And look, this isn't just some dusty collection of books. It's a symbol of an entire era of human thought that just vanished beneath the waves.
Let that sink in for a minute. An entire library of Hellenistic wisdom. The dialogues, the scientific theories, the poems, all the tiny little nuances of a brilliant culture, just sitting there, encased in silt at the bottom of the sea. The scale of what we've lost it's almost impossible to really wrap your head around.
But, bringing this library back isn't as simple as a scuba diving mission. Not at all. The reality is way, way more complicated. It's like a giant puzzle scattered across the seafloor. And this is where the real challenge kicks in.
Right, because we are not dealing with neatly stacked, intact books. No way. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of salt-crusted, waterlogged fragments, super brittle little pieces of scrolls and stone that hold maybe just a whisper of the original text. So how could anyone, possibly piece all of that back together? Traditionally, this would be a monumental, if not completely impossible task. You'd have to survey this vast, dark seabed, painstakingly recover every single tiny fragment, and then you'd face this Herculean challenge of trying to match pieces and interpret scripts that are barely even legible. It could literally take lifetimes. But what if there was another way? And this is where our modern-day hero enters the story, the algorithmic scribe. It's this incredibly advanced AI, a totally new kind of intelligence that's designed to read the unreadable and connect the unconnected.
So, how does this thing actually work? Well, at its core is something called a neural network. The easiest way to think of it is like a digital brain. It gets trained on enormous amounts of language and historical texts, so it learns the patterns, the style, and the logic of, say, ancient Greek philosophy. It's built specifically to look at a tiny fragment and predict what's missing. And this just highlights the massive difference here. Traditional archaeology is totally limited by what we can physically see and piece together with our own hands and eyes. The AI, though, it can process every single known fragment at the same time, identifying these subtle linguistic patterns and thematic connections a human might never, ever spot. It's bridging the gaps with educated, algorithmic guesses. And this, my friends, brings us to the most incredible part of our story. What actually happens when you finally let this algorithmic scribe loose on all the fragments of Apollonia? Well, the results are nothing short of a resurrection. And here's why. The AI isn't just spitting out text. It creates what the source material calls haunting algorithmic visuals. Think about that. It's a whole new art form, a visual representation of resurrected knowledge, kind of pulsing with the ghost of ancient thought. It's part history, part speculative art. It's wild. Just listen to this. This is a hypothetical piece of philosophy reconstructed by the AI from who knows how many shattered fragments. It's not just words, right? It has a rhythm, a depth that feels authentic. It perfectly captures that Hellenistic mix of observing nature and deep personal introspection.
And here's another one. To know the cosmos is to map the tides within oneself. I mean, again, you can feel that philosophical weight. The AI isn't just filling in blank spaces on a page. It's regenerating a lost way of thinking. It's creating what some people are starting to call speculative philosophy.
So this technology is absolutely breathtaking, but it also opens up a massive Pandora's box of really tricky questions. By resurrecting the past this way, are we actually reading history anymore, or are we kind of writing a new version of it?
Yeah, these are the questions we now have to start grappling with. If a line of philosophy is generated by an algorithm, is it really a window into the past, or is it just a very, very sophisticated echo? Who gets the credit? The original thinker or the code that revived them? And maybe most importantly, can a machine ever truly grasp the subtle nuances of human wisdom?
And all of that leaves us with this final, really crucial question. As we use AI to illuminate the salt-crusted marble of our own sunken intellects, we have to stop and ask ourselves, is the past we're rebuilding still real, or is it something new entirely? That's a question, and the answer to it is probably going to define the future of how we understand our own history